So in today's video, we will be talking about van security. Those of you who follow my channel are probably thinking, hey Wes, why are you talking about van security? You have a truck. Well, recently I was asked if I would like to become my branch's dock installer and get training for the whole 9 yards. Reason being is because I already had the truck with the welder in it, and it would be just an easy transition. The only problem is that I'm not interested in doing dock installations. I mean, there's various reasons why. The biggest reason is because I'm just too busy fixing forklifts, and I don't have time to even get all that work done, let alone pile something on top of that. So, yeah, so I gladly gave up the keys to the old Silverado 5500 and was moved back into a Ford Transit. I say gladly because I hated driving that Silverado 5500 with its four-wheel leaf suspension, manual windows, manual mirrors, and it was the most uncomfortable ride I've ever had in a service truck, ever. So, yeah, now I'm back into a nice, comfy van where I belong and where I'm happy. So, yeah, let's get into it. So now let's talk about van security. With any secure device, it has its weaknesses, and we'll touch on those when we're looking down on this whole situation here. But I mean, basically what you are trying to achieve by putting any type of external locking device on your service van is just to slow somebody down, or to make your van a less desirable option compared to the guy 3 streets over who has a van. And I mean, service vans, they're just notorious for getting broken into. One, because it's fairly easy to do. You pop the old driver's side window with an automatic centering punch, reach in, hit unlock, open up the doors, grab everything that looks like it's valuable, and then you're on your way. And then you sell the power tools, which are very easy to sell for pennies on the dollar. You get yourself a quick $200, and then you got your fix for the next couple of days. Just something about non-productive people. Making productive people's lives more miserable. It just bugs me. But yeah, so I mean that's basically what I'm trying to achieve here, is make my van a less desirable option for a thief compared to the other service vans in my neighborhood. So yeah, the particular lock that I picked was Slick Lock. Slick Lock. Basically, it's the reason I went with these as compared to the big, huge hasps is because those you got to drill holes in the door, rust. They look like crap over time. They look like crap when they're brand new, if I'm being honest. And yeah, these are basically a non-destructive, short of a little bit of trim or a little bit of weather stripping you got to trim up. And seems like they're fairly easy to install. Fairly stout locks. We'll get into the security features and the lack of security features on this system. And yeah, when we take a look down on the things. But yeah, so I just went with Slick Lock, reasonably priced. Seems like it's easy to install, and it's not going to make the van look like it's a wannabe vault. So yeah, let's face the camera down, take a close look at everything, and yeah, we'll go from there. So what comes in the package, you get this little flyer here, list all the different brands of vehicles that you could use for this. You can pause to read there. I will say I did check their website, so if you end up going from, which I'll probably end up at some point in time going from a Transit to a Mercedes, because that's what my company's buying nowadays, you can buy just the hardware that goes for that, and you can use the old locks. And then more promotional stuff, and there's a picture of an old rusted other style puck lock. Get yourself a bit of instruction manual here as far as how to mount it. Again, the instructions aren't really that hard to mount it. A list of the stuff you get and a list of tools that you need. I'm seeing T27 right there. I'm pretty sure that's wrong. We'll figure that out when we get out to the truck. You also get these paint protectors, which go on the slider door for when the lock's rattling around, it doesn't mess up the paint on the door. You get a stock of replacement hardware that needs to be used. Looks like metric, maybe 12, 13 millimeter, and a hex drive. And you get 4 keys for the 2 locks. So that way there I keep a spare set in my house, and I can give my boss a key, and I'll still have one left over. The actual puck locks are key to like, which is nice. You get a set of lock There you go, that's the right way. Set of lock mounting brackets. These two are for the rear door that open up. And this one here is for the slider. And last but not least, you get two puck locks. This particular one, I took the weather guard off of it just for the video reasons. I'll put it back on once it gets all mounted. So let's get the stuff we don't need to look at out of the way and actually get into the hardware of the stuff. So let's get into the actual brackets. Pretty simple. I believe these are supposed to be stainless steel. Yeah, the magnet barely holds on to them. And yeah, not much to look at as far as that goes. Stainless steel is nice. I mean, one, it makes it a little bit easier to, a little bit harder to cut. And two, it's just not going to rust out as bad. And U.S. patent number, yeah, these are two for the rear door. Again, stainless steel. Now onto the actual locks themselves. We'll grab the one without the weather guard on it. Let's get this thing unlocked. Well, there's the key inside of it. Give it a twist. Pull it out past the weather guard. And there you go. Now getting into the actual security features of said lock. First and foremost, it's got a spinner on it. These puck style locks, one quick and easy way to defeat these is to get yourself a big old pipe wrench, stick them on the outer side of this lock, and then just spin it and actually break the bracket. So that will, at the very least, mitigate that little form of attack. Moving on to the inside of the lock, you can see there's two little pins that have been, they actually look like, well, they're tamper-proof, but now you know what, they're roll pins. All right, so yeah, they put two little roll pins in there. So what that keeps you from doing is actually taking the lock body here, drilling a hole in it, and then taking a slide hammer and breaking the teeth off of there, so the lock opens that way. So that'll kind of slow that attack down. And another thing I actually just noticed, that this spinner right here, I don't know if you could see it, but there's a little circlip that goes around there, and you could actually take that off. I'm guessing if you're getting debris in it and it's starting to get bound up, you can pop that little circlip out, and it doesn't come off this way, which would be convenient for somebody wanting to steal it. It's actually got to come off that way. So you pull the circlip and then you push the lock body through, and you clean the inside of it. Now the actual lock itself, I would consider myself to be a novice lock picker. I got this little Sparrows kit that I've had for years. You'd be surprised how many times there's a cheap master lock keeping me from doing my job that no one can find a key for, and I just say, hey, you want me to pick it? And I pick it, and then I can get on with my day. So I picked this little hobby up in my spare time. It's come in handy. But getting to what I was actually talking about, this lock, as far as I could feel trying to pick it, there was definitely some spools in there, which would be security pins, and they just basically make it so you can't just do a low brain attack on it, where you just kind of tension it and put a little bit of a rake in there and be able to rake it open. You actually have to have a tiny bit of skills to pick it. And again, I mean, we're talking time, so I mean, if it takes a novice lock picker like myself to do it 5 minutes sitting in my recliner with this thing in my lap picking away at it, it's going to take somebody who's worried about getting caught with this thing mounted up against the van, trying to go over there while listening to see if anybody's sneaking up on them. Yeah, it's going to take them even more time. So again, just something else that's going to slow somebody down. And one last thing before we go any further, let's talk about obvious weakness with this whole setup, and that would be a low-skilled hacksaw attack on the thing. Again, it is stainless steel, so it's going to make it a little bit harder for you to cut this, but with this mounted up against the front of the van like this, you can actually slip a hacksaw down the inside of this and cut it, which would defeat the lock. But again, that's leading to, you know, it's more time, that's noise, and it's something somebody who's attempting to steal things out of your van isn't going to do. So what do you say we go out to the van and you watch me take probably a 15-minute job and turn it into a 45-minute job because I'm trying to record myself and I'll fumble around and do things wrong because I'm not concentrating on the task at hand, and you guys get to watch me install this on my service van, and hopefully I can edit around it and make myself look competent. Let's go do it. All right, so we're going to start off with what I would consider the most difficult part of this job, and that is the driver's side rear door. And that's because you got to remove a chunk of this trim to get the lock to go on there so it'll mount flush. Basically what you have to do is just take off the part here that clasps onto the sheet metal. So what you want to do is kind of slip that in there, make yourself a couple of marks here and here. And just cut that section out. Alright, now in the video they make, the company makes for these, they use 10 snips to get through this. I'm going to start off with a cheap set of wire cutters and see what we can do. I'm going to start by cutting in between here, hopefully. Right there. That wasn't too bad right for that. Alright. Hit it with the razor knife. Just finish that up with the razor blade. There you go. Not too bad. All right, we got that done now. Just take a T40 torx bit. You can remove the catch. And you just reinstall the bracket with the provided hardware. And we're just going to snug that for now because there might be adjustments needed in this. And now into the rear passenger door, T30, remove these two. And install the new bracket with their provided hardware. And snug them up temporarily just so we can do the adjustments. Alright, well, I screwed up. Worst part is I knew what to do and I did the wrong thing anyway. But this bracket right here is supposed to go on the outside of this catch, not on the inside like I did earlier, and that would have saved me a lot of time futzing around with the thing. But yeah, let's see how it closes now. Lock. And there. Cool. All right, let's move over to the slider. Now moving on to the slider door. Again, a T40. Now this side you actually keep the original hardware. And just snug it up. Alright, let's close it up. Alignment looks good. Now we get some masking tape and mark the area where that paint saver decal goes. Kind of a rough estimate here. Alright, remove the bracket, we'll put the tape on. Alright, a little rubbing alcohol, a nice clean cloth. To kind of getting any loose dirt or any oil or anything off of the door so the adhesive sticks. And just kind of put the decal where you marked it off. You might want to clean your hands before you put the decal on so you don't do what I did and get a fingerprint behind it. Alright, let's reinstall the bracket. Now the bracket's reinstalled. Let's put the lock on now. Cool. So that is the Slick Locks van lock kit for the 2015 on up Ford Transit with the slider door kit. At least that's the one that I'm going to link in the description here because that's the one I bought. But yeah, it seems like a decent enough kit. Installation is fairly simple, even after you figure out that you put the bracket on the wrong side of the catch and you spend 15 minutes trying to get everything lined up when you just need to move it over, and then you still need to line it up, but it's a lot easier. I hate doing things on camera. It just makes everything so much more difficult. But yeah, so installation's decent enough. I would say probably start to finish, if I wasn't recording myself, moving cameras around and making sure microphones were working right, we're probably talking half hour to an hour, I'm guessing. So that's not bad, especially compared to these old style ones that we all used at one point in time that make everything rusty and you got to drill 12 holes and nothing ever lines up. So yeah, I think installation is what I would call a breeze. Another note from installation, the weather stripping on the side here, I couldn't really show it when I was recording it, but these little teeth right here, these little stainless steel spring jobbies in here, when you're cutting this at the top here, try to cut between them. It'll make your life a lot easier instead of actually trying to cut one in half. And when you're peeling it off, you kind of want to fillet this area from the weather stripping, peeled apart, so it kind of leaves a little rubber behind. I mean, or you could just cut the whole thing off, whichever easier for you. But like I said, at least this way here, you're kind of retaining that weather stripping in the back. But yeah, the whole system by itself, I think, is a pretty good deal. Personally, I think I'm going to try to run it without the weather boot on it. I've seen a bunch of people running it without the weather boot. It kind of makes it a little more futzy getting on and off. And yeah, I'm going to try it without it. If it starts getting nasty, I'll just slap it on it and learn my lesson. But I'm going to try it without it. I mean, it's mostly aluminum, so I mean, how bad could it get? Famous last words, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, that's about it as far as the Slick Locks locking kit for my van, all installed and everything. I'll leave a link to this down in the description, the one that I bought. Yeah, and I think that's about it for this video. Any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down in the old comment section there. I'll do my best to get back to you. I'd like to thank you for watching. There you go.